Miesha, I know you kind of shied away from the limelight for a little bit, but now that it's here, I mean, this is massive. What does it feel like?
It's refreshing, actually, to like have gone that period without it and then have all of this support here. It's like really motivating me. I feel like I have a ton of energy. I'm super excited for Saturday, and I don't know how to like put it into words. Like I just want to jump around, like yay! Like I'm just so excited about it. I'm pumped to be here. You know, this is an opportunity I can never take for granted. Like after having the title shot taken from me, like I am fully enjoying this moment. I'm so ready to get in there Saturday and get this done.
Miesha, you guys are in the title fight. Should it be the main event, you think, rather than the co-main?
Well, you know what? The thing is that Conor is still a champion. He's still the champion, and even though it's not for a title fight, he trained for five rounds, and I'm okay with it because I think that our fight wouldn't be getting as much publicity if it wasn't for Conor anyways. So I'm fine with it. And that fight's going to be an amazing fight, something I'm really looking forward to. So, you know, I'm okay with it.
Miesha, you talked about having the title fight taken away from you. It's kind of a story leading up to this. You had your battles and you did the media stuff, but now you're sitting here with another title shot. What did you learn from this whole experience, and how were you a changed fighder and a changed person, I guess?
I'm just more appreciative, you know. It's not every day you get a title shot, you know. I'm one in two women in the whole world that's fighting Saturday night for the biggest promotion in the UFC and MMA, and man, it's like, how could you take that for granted? You know, I just have a whole new appreciation, a whole new perspective, and I understand like this is a big opportunity for me.
Speaking of appreciation, does it kind of feel like your last shot because you've been in this purgatory before? Does this feel like a do or die for Miesha Tate?
Yeah, in a way, you know, there's no guarantees that I'll ever get another title shot at this point, you know, so it's like, it is a do or die. It's like March 5th is my date. It's the only date that matters to me. Nothing comes after that. It's all my focus, and it's just tunneling in. It's like this funnel vision, and I'm feeling super energetic but super focused, so I've never felt better leading into a fight.
Now, you've been in some big fights before, obviously the two Ronda fights, and you're a veteran of the sport. How does this one feel different? McGregor, a new champion at home, how does this feel different for you?
It's very lighthearted, you know. It's like Conor's hilarious, so he obviously keeps things really lighthearted. I'm always laughing whenever we're engaged in something like that. And now that we have Nate in there, it's funny because like we have those two flipping each other off, and then Holly and I are like making each other friendship bracelets. So
quite a bit of a contrast to your last championship opponent.
Yeah, a bit of a contrast to say the least. So I mean, we're having a good time with it. I'm taking it all in, and man, I feel like I'm harnessing my inner beast, like with all this positive energy and feeling so good. It's like, man, I just can't wait to flip that switch. It's like usually the happier I am going to a camp, the more vicious I am when it push comes to shove.
You and Holly recently filmed a movie together. Did you form a friendship of filming the movies?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, not like a super close bond. We didn't like, you know, plan any tea parties afterwards, but no, she was super sweet, super nice. I have nothing but great things to say about her, but I mean, everyone's kind of wondering like, oh, if you like someone, does that make it harder to fight them? Absolutely not. I didn't get into this sport because I wanted to fight people I hate. I got into this sport because I want to fight the best in the world. That's all the motivation I need. She's the champion, she's the best in the world, and I've got to try to take that from her. So my focus is that, and that's what it is.
Miesha, when you envision this fight, how does it play out? What round do you win in, and what match?
Man, it's hard because I've envisioned this fight so many different ways. Like, I've envisioned myself knocking her out. I've envisioned myself like kicking her to the body and finishing. I mean, I've envisioned the craziest things, and the only common denominator is that I'm always the winner. You know, and I enjoy that. I absorb that, and I'm ready for that. But no, I can't give any specific fight predictions because you never know. That's the awesome thing about it. You don't know how it's going to go exactly, but I can promise you I'll win on Saturday. That's about all I know.
Miesha, a few months ago, you were pretty down because you didn't get the title shot that was promised to you. How low did you actually get? Was it a pretty dark place at that point?
Yeah, it was really sad. Man, yeah, it's been quite character forging. I'll put it that way. You know, it was pretty disheartening and pretty hard to get through, but the thing is that I realize now in this moment that those lows are there so that the highs are better. And I'm just have a different outlook on this opportunity here, that the fact that I thought I was going to get it before and it was taken, and like now here it is, like, man, I got to make the most of it, and I got to be thankful for this.
Is it vindication? Do you feel vindicated in a way, in a sense?
Yeah, vindication, definitely. I feel like this was exactly how it was meant to play out, and I just didn't see that before. I didn't know how the future was going to go, so I was kind of in that moment. And then when Holly knocked out Ronda, it was like, well, this is exactly what was meant to happen. So I think people are much more interested in seeing this fight with Holly and I at this point. And after I beat Holly, it would make a lot more sense for me me to fight Ronda again. So it worked out better.
Miesha, what's Holly's biggest weakness?
I mean, I have to think that her ground game is probably her biggest weakness, but I don't know, because nobody's really like been able to take it there. So we'll find out on Saturday. I think that Holly's chin might be a little bit suspect too. I have seen her wobbled a couple times from some punches that didn't look like they were anything more than I could deliver. That's for sure. So I think that's a little bit questionable too. The thing is, she has great head movement and great footwork. So landing a solid right hand, I think, could definitely put her down. But I gotta put it in the right place at the right time.
Cameras, let's put let's back up just a little bit. Have the writers come on in for a few minutes.
Hi.
It sounded like you guaranteed victory on stage.
Yeah, I mean, I'm as confident can be. There are no guarantees in MMA, but in my mind, it's a done deal. I just have to go out there and prove it to the rest of the world. Yeah, I've been there already so many times in my own mind that I've already played it out, every scenario that I could possibly win this fight. So I just can't accept anything less. I can't accept defeat. I will only accept victory, and that's it.
We know you feel like you're going to beat Holly. Have you envisioned what it would be like if you had the belts and Ronda had the challenge for your belts? Have you thought about that at all?
Before I ever thought about the matchup with Holly and stuff, I thought about that. But as soon as this fight was signed, I've just really been focused on Holly. I'm like, I don't want to take her lightly at all. Like, we don't know exactly how good she is on the ground, how good she is in wrestling. There's a lot of unknowns. She's kind of a dark horse in a little bit in this. I do know what she's exceptional at, and I'm prepared for that. But I also have to be prepared for what I can't, know, what I don't know. So I've been preparing for everything. I feel like I've been preparing for this moment for a long time, and I've fought a lot of different styles of fighters. I've fought many great strikers over my career. Typically, I've been the grappler versus a striker, and I've done very well with that. So I like the matchup, and I love the fact that she's a southpaw too. The stance doesn't bother me at all. And I know that I have a lot of tools on my tool belt. I've been doing this for a long time. I've been doing contact sports for almost half my life. So it's quite a bit of time to put into this to let this moment slip away. So I will do everything I can within my power to be the champion on Saturday.
You may not have the personal angst toward Holly that you had toward Ronda, though. How do you adjust to that?
Adjustments have to be made every fight, so you either sink or you swim. Either you figure it out or you don't. I think I haven't figured it out with this much time that I put into it, and having to go through the most hellacious lead-ups to fights with Ronda, and relatively relaxed ones also. So I've been on both ends of the spectrum. I've experienced that before. I've had the biggest fight, so this one feels all too easy. It's just like it's a very natural lead-up. It's a very comfortable lead-up, and it makes me feel really good about things.
Is it a lot of that because of your winning streak? I mean, the confidence that's been born from that?
Well, yeah, think about it. I've been beating girls at their best attributes inside the top 10, even inside the top 5. Like some of the girls that were ranked at that time, I beat them at their own game. So I think that is a testament to how well-rounded I am and how good I am in each area of the game. When push comes to shove, I beat Jessica I in the striking department for the most part. Like, I dropped her and I hurt her, and she's supposed to be this really stellar boxer. Striker, and then Sarah McMahon, I out wrestled and out grappled the Olympic silver medalist. And even when Ronda, when I could take away the positives of it, you know what I mean? I was the only person other than Holly now to take down Ronda once and then escape her arm bars and things like that. So I think I proved that I have exceptional grappling as well. And I'm dangerous on the feet, and I'm gritty, and I'm tough, and what more can we ask for?
Miesha, everybody talks about your grappling versus Holly's striking. Brian Stan, I talked to him the other day, and he said he thinks that if you win this fight, it's going to be by knockout.
Interesting. That's the first prediction that I've had that, but I think he's right on spot. Actually, I think that couldn't be too far off. Like I said, I've watched some of her fights, and I've seen her chin get tested, and I think it's a little bit suspect. I saw Raquel put her down with a shot, and actually even Ronda clipped her with a left hook, and she wobbled. And so it just leads me to think that she might have great striking, but maybe glass chin. I don't know.
Did you watch any of her boxing fights? Like when she did get kind of brutally knocked out, in that. I mean, did you watch any of that just to see her tendencies? And I mean, obviously, once you get knocked out, they always say you never really come back from that.
Yeah, I watched some, but I left most of that to my striking coaches. I mostly focused on what she's going to do in MMA because it is an MMA fight, and I think there's things that she's going to steer away from that work for boxing that don't work for MMA. So I want to know what she's doing in my sport, and that's what I'm most
Can you talk a little bit about your relationship with Brian? What's made it work and what's made it challenging?
There's been a lot of things that, like with any relationship, sometimes it's difficult, sometimes it's perfect, but I think having an understanding of exactly what goes into the sport and exactly what each other needs just makes it easier. And having him fight also, he understands exactly what to do. And the fact that he can get up there and get on stage with me and work with me and just give me that extra boost of confidence is, I think it's really, really important. And I think
It's been challenging at the same time, and you brought in the second trainer, seems like, to serve as a buffer.
Yeah, exactly. No, every relationship is challenging. There's nothing that's a piece of cake, but at the same time, it's like you got to take the good with the bad. There's going to be times we're both very strong-headed. We're both very strong people. Like, you can't be in this sport and not be a selfish person at times, and you can't be in this sport and not be really headstrong. Like, those kinds of people don't survive in this sport. So when you have two people who are in the top 10 in the world fighting for the UFC, there's bound to be moments when we butt heads. But the thing is there's give and take, as with any relationship. And there's things when you have to learn to just pick your battles or walk away from it, or add another piece in that kind of adds the buffer. And that's where Robert Follis really comes in. My head MMA coach, he's like the buoy between the boat and the dock sometimes. The buoy needs the dock, or the boat needs the dock, and the dock needs the boat at that, for that place and time. Sometimes you just need someone to kind of filter it a little bit or buffer it, because I get more emotional if Brian says I'm doing something wrong than if my coach Follis does, and it's just because we have we're like this. So when he says that, I'm like, what?
There's been a lot of talk about what's next. Holm's kind of been non-committal. If she'll wait for Rousey. Rousey mentioned November as a possible return. What about you? Will you wait for that third match with Rousey if you do end up victorious?
Right now, there is no other match than Saturday. That's it. There's no looking beyond this. I don't know if Ronda's ever going to come back, and I can't bank on what's next when I have to accomplish this first. You know what I mean?
If she doesn't come back, will you be okay with that? Not getting another shot at the person who, gave it to you twice, gave you 2 losses?
I would like to fight her again if she stays around, but if she doesn't, I didn't get into this sport also thinking like, I want to create an arch nemesis and beat that person. It's like, no, I want to become the best in the world. So this is the moment that matters to me right now. Being a champion is what matters to me, and that's why I got into this sport, for no other reason.
Okay. Thanks, can I just ask, excuse me, white-haired gentleman, thank you. Can I just ask you, what difference has it made to you having a male sparring partner who's southpaw coming into this contest? Has that been the most important part for you in the build-up?
It's been important, that's for sure, and definitely pushes me. Anytime you're sparring in there with the guys, man, they're going to pull more than you think you have, out of you. They're going to force it out of you. And Travis was an amazing, amazing sparring partner for me this whole camp. A phenomenal striker, phenomenal southpaw, mimicked her perfectly. And I feel like that was really key in my preparation.
And do you think she will try to mimic what she did against Ronda against you?
Well, if she could. If she could, I'm sure she would, but...
I mean in terms of moving and dancing and using the entire octagon to stay away from you.
Well, she has great movement, so I imagine if I force in a reckless way, then she's going to have to run in that reckless way. But it all depends on how I move, and I think that I dictate that. If I'm coming running at her, yeah, she's going to do that, But if I have a change in strategy, that could definitely change things. And Holly's a very precise and clean striker and a clean fighter, and I think I'm a messy fighter. I think I like to make things messy, and I will. I will, yeah, absolutely. I will do whatever it takes to win this fight. So if I don't allow her to just be at that perfect range to land those perfect strikes, this could be a very ugly fight for her.
Thanks, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you.